This all started as a simple idea. Let's build a fire pit. Nothing fancy, just a spot to hang out as a family, roast some marshmallows, and enjoy Oklahoma evenings together. But of course, like any simple idea that we do, it turned into a full-blown weekend project. First of all, we had to figure out how big we wanted this thing to be. So before we broke ground, we dragged out some lawn chairs and we used a square scrap of wood to kind of mock up where the fire pit would be. And that gave us a feel for the space and helped us to decide on the final size, 18 feet in diameter. Which, that sounds somewhat reasonable until you're the one digging it. We started by finding the center and driving in a stake. Then we tied a string to it, marked out the circle with spray paint, and we started feeling like pros. Next step, we defined the edges. We used a sod cutter to score the perimeter, thinking we'd just dig it out with shovels. And that was kind of our first mistake. A few minutes in, we realized that this was a lot of dirt and a lot of work. And the Oklahoma clay, well, it really wasn't doing us any favors. Okay, so we've made some pretty good progress. We've got the bulk of the grass and stuff out, but I feel like we still need to go a little bit further down. I don't know if we've just kind of packed a lot of this dirt back down or if we actually still need to actually dig down more. But we need to take it down a little bit farther. And this is kind of trial and error as we're doing this. We're going to take our pavers that are going to go around the perimeter, kind of put them in place and try to figure out a correct depth. But this is just a lot of work, and it's just kind of a slow process. I'm not really sure whose idea this was, but they kind of suck. Once everything was tilled up, we got to work hauling dirt, load after load in the wheelbarrow. Me, the boys, Jess, all pitching in. We moved the dirt to some low spots in the yard. Nothing gets wasted around here. Okay, so we have made pretty decent progress on this, and I know this looks like some kind of weird pentagram thing or something that we've made in here, but I've strung up some strings across this to try to figure out where level's at, and so I've got a string level on here. I'm not a civil engineer or anything, but I think this will kind of get us close because I want this to be fairly level, because I think if we just follow the ground, this is going to look weird because we're obviously higher on one side than we are on the other. So, or vice versa, we're higher on that side than we are on this side. So we brought this up and then we've just kind of mocked up the different perimeter bricks where we want them to be. And this kind of gives us an idea of like how far we're going to be down in the ground on this side and how far up we're going to be on this side, because we don't want to be, if we can keep from it, we don't want to be so high that we've got like a retaining wall over on this side. So that's something to think about when you do this, is to figure out where you're going to be at. This area didn't look terribly unlevel. I knew it was a little bit higher over here, but by the time you're done, you know, it's quite a bit higher, because right there I'm just about grade level there, and over here I'm brick high pretty much basically. So it's just something to kind of think about. And again, if anybody out there knows a better way to do this, this was kind of how I figured out how to do it, and just kind of get me kind of an eyeball of making sure that my perimeter is level when we get ready to do all this. Now for the brick perimeter, we dug a trench around the edge, a little moat basically, where the pavers would go. Instead of setting them in the sand or gravel, we used a thin layer of fast setting concrete. Just dry mix poured straight into the trench. Then we started placing the pavers one by one, taking our time to level everything and align them. It's not fast work, but it's worth doing right, and these bricks form the visual boundary of the whole fire pit. If they're crooked, everything's just going to be off. Okay, so we're making pretty good progress, and wanted to mention a couple things. So we've put concrete in here all the way around, and that's setting down in concrete. It's fast setting concrete. We've come up about 1 inch is what we've done here. And what that does is that's going to allow us to just kind of hold that in place in case kids or whatever are walking on these rocks, because you know it's inevitable. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to come in with this fast setting concrete, and we're just going to mist it, and that's going to help set all this stuff in place. It's kind of designed to be able to work this way. We've done this for our edging for our landscaping up front, and it worked phenomenal. We did that like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I'll probably tag the video in the description down below, because it's a really good video. It goes through exactly how to do this, and it's kind of where we got the idea, and then we just kind of transferred it over to this, and it works really well. So anyway, that will kind of finish that up, and then we're gonna go ahead and set this up in some water. Once all the bricks were in place, we gently misted the concrete, not soaked, just a fine mist from the hose. It seems like nothing's happening, but give it 30 or 45 minutes and it hardens up nicely. A quick note here, we chose not to use landscaping fabric under the gravel. I've tried this before and just haven't had great luck. It always ends up tearing or getting clogged, and weeds still find their way in. And we'd rather just deal with a few weeds than a shredded mess underneath our gravel in a year or two. We went with basic gray 3/4 inch gravel. Nothing fancy here, just functional. We ordered 3 cubic yards, which came out to about $135 at our local gravel yard and $100 for delivery. So for under 250 bucks, we were able to get the material for the gravel, no problem, and that really helped us out a whole lot when it came to the cost. It would have cost twice that if we'd gotten bags from like a big box store, and way more expensive that way. According to the delivery driver, this whole thing weighed about 3 tons, which means once again, wheelbarrow duty. One load at a time, the boys and I hauled it over while Jess raked it smooth. Our goal was at least 3 inches of coverage across the pit. We borrowed a tamper from a friend and packed it down as we went. Borrowed the wheelbarrow too, just from a different neighbor. And that's something that I think that we've kind of lost a little bit in modern life, the neighborly habit of borrowing tools. Not everything has to be bought. Sometimes all it takes is asking. Eventually we had a solid compacted gravel base, and it was time for the crown jewel, the fire pit itself. We're using the new Hasty Bake Fire Pit. They were kind enough to send this one out for us to try. It's square, stainless steel, and smokeless. It's got a classy look, but more importantly, it has a pull-out ash pan, which makes cleanup very easy. It's definitely one of the most thoughtfully designed pits that I've ever seen. Also, probably my favorite feature is the fact that you can actually cook on this. They include a cooking grate, and you flip it upside down and it drops inside out of the way. Also, this thing has a lid that you can put on the top.
Nice.
It's already been through a storm or two and we've not had any problems. For chairs, we decided to take the easy route for now. We grabbed a few from IKEA, 70 bucks or so a piece, and they'll get us through a couple of seasons. Eventually, I'll build some out of cedar, but this summer's already packed, and sometimes you gotta know when to say it's good enough. That's something that I've learned over the years with DIY. Don't let perfect get in the way of done. You don't have to build every single thing from scratch. Spend your time where it matters most. And for us, that's around this fire pit with the people that we love.